Imagine a force so terrifying, so unstoppable, that entire kingdoms vanish in its path. A military machine that crushed empires, wiped out cities, and brought destruction wherever it went. This was the Mongol Empire, a force that created the largest land empire in human history. But what happened when these warriors turned toward Europe? Did Europe stand a chance? Did knights in shining armor fight back? Or was Europe just another victim of Mongol conquest? Stay with me till the end to learn how the Mongols fought against Europe, why they were so effective, and how European kingdoms struggled to survive the invasion. Before we talk about their battles in Europe, let's first understand who the Mongols were and why they were so powerful. The Mongols were nomads from the steppes of Central Asia. They lived in harsh conditions, always moving, hunting, and herding animals. Their way of life made them strong, tough, and highly mobile. But the true reason for their success was their military genius, strategy, and leadership under one of the greatest conquerors in history, Genghis Khan. The Mongols were not just warriors. They were masters of war. Their armies moved fast, struck hard, and disappeared before their enemies could react. Here's why they were so effective. Speed and mobility. Mongol soldiers could ride 80 to 100 miles per day, much faster than any European army. Superior archery. Mongol warriors used powerful composite bows that could fire accurately from horseback while moving. Deception and tricks. They often pretended to retreat to lure enemies into traps. Psychological warfare. Before attacking, the Mongols spread fear, demanding surrender. If a city refused, they wiped it out completely. Advanced siege warfare. They used Chinese catapults, gunpowder bombs, and flaming arrows to destroy castles and walls. With these tactics, the Mongols conquered China, Persia, and the Middle East. But their eyes were now set on Europe. The Battle of Kalka River, 1223, a warning for Europe. The first major battle between the Mongols and Europeans happened in 1223 at the Kalka River in modern-day Ukraine. The Mongols, led by Subutai and Jebe, faced an alliance of Russian princes and Kipchak nomads. The Europeans thought they could easily crush the Mongols. They outnumbered them, had heavy knights, and were fighting in their own land. But the Mongols played their favorite trick. They pretended to retreat. The European forces chased them for several days, only to fall into a massive ambush. The result? A complete Mongol victory. Thousands of Russians were killed, and the Mongols executed captured nobles in a brutal way, by crushing them under wooden planks while having a feast on top. Europe had received its first terrifying lesson. The Mongols were unlike any enemy they had ever faced. In 1236, the Mongols returned to Europe, not as raiders but as conquerors. This invasion was led by Bada Khan, the grandson of Genghis Khan, along with Subutai, one of history's greatest generals. They had one goal: crush Eastern Europe. The fall of Russia, 1237 to 1240. First, the Mongols attacked Russia. City after city fell. 1237. The Mongols destroyed Ryazan, killing or enslaving everyone. 1238. They crushed Moscow and Vladimir. 1240. Kiev, the great capital of Kievan Rus, was burned to the ground. By 1240, Russia was completely conquered. The Mongols established the Golden Horde, ruling over Russia for centuries. With Russia defeated, the Mongols turned west, towards Poland, Hungary, and the rest of Europe. The Battle of Legnica, April 1241. Poland's defeat. In April 1241, Duke Henry II of Silesia gathered an army of Polish knights, German warriors, and Teutonic knights. They met the Mongols at Legnica, but once again, Mongol strategy proved superior. They used smoke bombs to confuse the knights and then cut them down one by one. Duke Henry was killed, and his head was put on a spear as a warning. Poland had lost. The Battle of Mohi, April 1241. Hungary's nightmare. At the same time, the Mongols invaded Hungary. King Bela IV of Hungary assembled a large army to stop them at Mohi, but the Mongols pretended to retreat again. surrounded the Hungarians at night, launched a devastating surprise attack. The Hungarian army was annihilated. Tens of thousands died. Hungary was burned, and its people were enslaved or killed. Now, Germany, Austria, and the rest of Europe were completely exposed. With Hungary and Poland defeated, nothing seemed to stop the Mongols from marching into Germany, France, and Italy. But suddenly in 1242, the Mongols stopped their invasion and retreated. Why? The great Khan died. The Mongol ruler Ogidi Khan died in Mongolia. Bata Khan had to return to claim power. Europe's fortifications. Unlike the open lands of Asia, Western Europe had more castles and stone cities, making it harder to conquer. Mongol strategy, they preferred easy victories. A long, risky war in Western Europe wasn't worth it. This retreat saved Europe. Even though Europe suffered terrible defeats, they began learning from their mistakes. Stronger defenses. Cities started building higher walls and stronger castles. Adapting Mongol tactics. European armies began using faster cavalry, archery, and mobile warfare. Alliances. European rulers started cooperating more to resist future invasions. Over time, Mongol power declined and Europe recovered. The Mongols came like a storm, sweeping through the east and smashing into Europe with unstoppable force. Their warriors moved faster than any army the Europeans had ever seen, striking with terrifying precision. Kingdoms that had stood for centuries were burned to ashes, entire populations were wiped out, and even the most powerful European rulers were left scrambling for survival. The Mongols didn't just defeat armies, they shattered civilizations. But despite the devastation, Europe survived. And not only did it survive, it learned. The Mongols exposed Europe's greatest weaknesses, forcing its kingdoms to adapt, evolve, and improve. Before the Mongols, European warfare was slow, focused on heavy knights in shining armor clashing on open fields. The Mongols proved that speed, mobility, and strategy could destroy even the mightiest knights. After facing the Mongols, European armies became smarter, developing new tactics to counter fast-moving enemies. The Mongol invasions also reshaped the map of Europe. They weakened kingdoms like Hungary and Poland, while also changing Russia forever. Under Mongol rule, Russia remained isolated from Western Europe for centuries, developing its own unique culture and military traditions. Some historians even argue that Russia's strong centralized government today can be traced back to Mongol influence. At the same time, the Mongols also brought unexpected benefits to Europe. Through their vast empire, they connected east and west, opening up new trade routes along the Silk Road. Technologies, ideas, and even the first signs of gunpowder weapons started appearing in Europe because of Mongol expansion. Without the Mongols, the Renaissance and the Age of Exploration might have happened much later. Yet, despite all their power, the Mongols never fully conquered Europe. Why? Some say it was the death of the Great Khan. Others argue that Europe's dense forests, castles, and rivers made it too difficult to invade. Whatever the reason, Europe was spared from total conquest, but it would never be the same again. In the end, the Mongols didn't just fight Europe, they transformed it. They forced it to become stronger, smarter, and more united. The Mongol invasions were some of the darkest moments in European history, but from that darkness, a new and more powerful Europe emerged. So, what if the Mongols had never stopped? What if they had pushed deeper into France, Germany, or even England? Would Europe still exist as we know it today? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into history, don't forget to subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more amazing stories from the past.